All right, yes, we're recording. Welcome to Heaven on Earth. Salita, her name actually means a little piece of heaven. And I'm excited for you guys all to be here. We've got a special guest, Kim, here in the background. And she is, thank you, Salita. Salita's already doing a lot of clearing. She is receiving, gonna get some healing. And I'm just gonna pin my video here for you guys. There we go. All right. So you may see the horses working with her, on her. That's what's going on. There's a healing. If you see me yawning during any of the healings or clearings tonight, it is me releasing tension or energy from my own system, but from all of ours, since we're all connected. The theme for tonight is on love. It is in honor of a guest birthday who's on tonight, who has dedicated her life work to making film and media and writing about love and what love is. And what came in earlier is talking about universal love, so which is really where the horses are from. So as you can see, Salita's already brought up her huge big heart for all of us to feel into. So let's do that for a second. Let's put our hand on our heart and let's see if we can energetically, if we can put our hand energetically on a horse's heart. So you can close your eyes or keep them open, and let's just pop in and let's do some heart breathing together to come into a space of love. Now if you can just focus on your sit bone, see if you can drop your lower half of your body heavier into the earth. Rita's going to help us with some grounding, releasing. See if you can just feel the lower half of your body getting heavier. And also, if you want to drop into your toes and wiggle your feet inside of your shoes or just your feet on the ground. Nice. So let's just take a moment and become present to the different senses. So maybe the temperature, where you are. The feeling of your breath. Maybe any sounds. Any tastes. I'm just starting to notice the different senses and what's available. If your eyes are open, you can kind of look into Sweetness's eyes. Just sort of activating all of your senses. And so Sweetness is really sharing about the relaxation that comes from feeling really present to our senses and to our bodies. So just bringing loving awareness to that. All parts of your body that may need some love right now, some rest, some relaxation. So Sweetness's nose is on my right knee. So just see if you can feel a donkey just dropping their head into your lap or to a part of your body that may need some support. Nice. And so coming into horse channeling for this meditation, it's going to take a moment and connect. So what we're essentially going to do is we're going to go on a journey with the horses. What you're first going to do is to start to feel yourself walking into a meadow. Maybe you're noticing the ground, the wildflowers, the sky. Just continuing to slowly move forward to an area that is wooden fence with horses. And you see it in a distance and you just keep moving towards that. And as you come closer, you notice the horses' heads inside of this enclosure. They look up and they take you in. Curiosity, with eyes of love. And as you come to the gate, you silently ask the horses if it's okay to enter. And you feel their encouragement. You slowly open up that gate and walk inside. Walking into the pasture, you start to feel home. You start to feel like you've landed inside of a very sacred space. And amongst the meadow and the grass and the flowers, there's dozens of horses, all sizes and colors. For as far as the eye can see. So you notice that you're just starting to roam around without really any agenda, any levels of control. You're just mindfully walking around, noticing them, noticing their beauty, and then taking a moment, pausing and noticing your own beauty. And then you're noticing their power and their size, and how they're comfortable being so big. And you just pause and you come to noticing your own power and size and largeness in the world. Then from there, you start to see their majestic energy. Their spiritual energy, their creative energy. And then you pause and you start to see your own. Acknowledging, I too am majestic. And as you're walking around inside with all of these horses that are totally free, this large, large enclosure, you all of a sudden notice one horse in particular, or maybe it's a donkey. When you approach that horse, you notice that horse notices you as well, and you start to go forward and approach that horse. And as you do so, that horse's eye comes right up to your eye and looks right deep into your soul. And as that happens, allow that to be a transmission, loving sight, seeing with the eyes of love. And then start to breathe with that horse. See how that goes, breathing in and out. And then allow your body to do what it feels called to, whether it's to sit on the ground with that horse, to stand heart to heart, to lean into the backside of the horse, whatever it is that comes forward. Take a couple moments and connect with that horse. Maybe see if that horse has a message for you. Maybe there's a question you want to ask that horse. See if there's an answer that comes forward as you sit there, and just be with that being. So taking a deep breath, receiving any of the energy from that horse. Thanking it, honoring it. What Sweetness is offering is that in that meadow, starting to feel into bridging the energy between horse and human, seeing if there's something in that horse that is a quality for you. And then also bridging that really sacred spiritual place that you're in with this herd. See if you can bridge that sacred energy into your physical body. Bringing in the peacefulness, bringing in the horse power and movement. Bringing in all of nature and her creations. The mothering energy of nature. Seeing you're in this space, if there's more higher dimensional energies that can enter your body, be there to nourish and wake up, relax and energize all of your body. So see as you're just in this space, if there's just a little bit more you can receive, a little bit more relaxed you can get. A little more present, a little more accepting. Just allowing the energies of nature, the Kundalini energy, life force to come up from the ground or from the horses. Just allowing it to rise up throughout your body. Lifting out lower frequencies or irritations or judgments. Just giving your whole space more and more of the light energy. More of the bliss energy. Knowing that this opportunity to receive is an act of self-love. See what else that horse has for you. Maybe it's a nuzzle on the cheek. Maybe it's a nudge to move more. Maybe it's a whisper of words. Taking a deep breath and allowing that in. So what's coming forward is a lot of bird energy around soaring, around using our voice to sing to ourselves. So I want you to just take a moment and share with this horse out loud or silently the most loving thing you would like to hear, the most loving thing you'd want someone to ever say to you. Just share it with that horse. What is that statement? So maybe it's starting to feel or to accept I am lovable beyond measure. I am completely loved for who I am, just as I am. My universal truth is love. Whatever that extra dose of sweetness, energy is, so you can sing it to yourself, speak it to yourself. Sharing it with a heart 5 times the size of yours in the presence of unconditional love of the horse and all the horses in that pasture with you. So taking a deeper breath, coming back into the next step of this journey. Maybe standing up if you're ready to leave, but really kind of bowing deep namaste energy to the horses for being there for you, for showing you more of who you are. And the donkeys. So starting to walk towards that gate. Knowing that you're leaving with a different view, a different way of speaking, a different energy activation, with more horsepower. Bringing all of that with you as you walk through this gate. Maybe the dragonfly follows you out, or the birds overhead in a V. You leave that gate and you leave the horses behind for now. You walk back on that path that you came in at, feeling different, feeling more centered, feeling more of who you truly are. And kind of wander back as though you're making way into your actual home, to where you're sitting or laying. Coming back fully into your body, into the present moment. Taking with you all of the energy that just happened, bringing it into a new version of yourself, more upgraded, vibrant version of who you are, more love available, more peace available. And coming back into your body, to the present moment. And maybe moving your hands on your body somewhere that needs some touch right now. Bringing some loving touch to yourself wherever you may need that. And Sweetness is asking us to stay grounded with this. So wiggling your toes on the ground. Feeling some strength in your spine, maybe sitting up straighter. Feeling your sit bones drop like tree branches, feeling grounded into the earth. So just taking a moment to come out of this when you're ready. The energy still feels really good, so I'm just sort of swimming in it myself. A couple deep breaths. And really grounding in that love deep into your feet, all the way down to the chakras underneath your feet, the earth chakras, feeling really connected to the earth. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You can feel free to drop something in the chat on how you're feeling, what that experience was like. If you got any wisdom sharing, I'm going to show you the sunset really quick. And you can see the geese are flying together in this beautiful configuration. Hopefully you can see that as they head this way. You can maybe hear them. I'll have to look up geese medicine. I haven't seen them this active. You can kind of see them here behind me. Right there. They just went behind that way. So hopefully you guys feel better, different. The sun's pretty, this is the sunset. So the sun's pretty, it's a little foggy because there's some smoke coming off the fires. And it looks like the horses are much quieter now, not as active as when we started. I was kind of hoping things would be working with him, but apparently I need it more, so he's over here.
He's like, no.
He's like, I want to be grounding Kate and getting these people in the boxes some love. So for what's left, we're gonna do we'll do a little wisdom sharing, and I'm gonna see what I can bring in from the horses. I did not have a topic for today, and I was gonna say, Kim, pick a topic because she's coming here live. And then I got really clear that a lot of what I've read this week is about love. And Melanie's birthday is today. Who's on this call, and she has a docu-series called Mel's Loveland. And it's all about different expressions of love in the world. And I was watching some of it again last night, and the episode that she did on the horses, which I'm super grateful about and excited, and really thinking about how I often say the horses are real representatives of unconditional love, but that they're really real representatives of universal love. And that the other thing I was listening to this week, one of my clients told me he thought about me when he was listening to Ram Dass's podcast on swimming with dolphins. And Ram Dass said that when he got in with the dolphins, he had this huge heart activation and feeling as though he was completely in his intuitive center, but also just really witnessing universal love at a high level. I'm gonna give you guys Sweetness for a second. He's clearing, and good boy. Thank you, sweetheart. Good boy. Thank you. Yeah, good boy. Yeah. So whatever got cleaned and cleared up. So Melanie calls him my CEO of joy, I think. I think that's what she calls him. Melanie might have to drop it in the chat if I got that wrong. But he's not mine, but he's definitely, I'm his as much as I can be. So this clearing energy that you're seeing with this yawning is, you know, it's moving out some of these good boy denser frequencies. So yes, it is like looking God in the eyes when you're swimming with them. It's so true. So it's interesting because, you know, he was really saying there's so much about universal love. Oh, good boy. So what I was getting was how can we talk about that tonight and journal about what does even universal love look like, even above and beyond unconditional love, because it's hard for us to sometimes even, what does unconditional mean? Okay, means no conditions. What does that mean? How do we live without conditions? Like, one of our conditions is we get dressed in the morning. Like, another is we stop at a stop sign. Like, how do we do this unconditional thing? It's almost like we, as humans, because we're in polarity, don't understand no conditions. So then I was like, but universal love feels easier for me to wrap my own head around. Sweetness is like eating the tiniest little piece of grass right underneath here right now. But that was some good clearing. And what also came in, and what I'd like to do first is a little clearing, a little healing activation. But what came in was Rumi's quote of, you know, that all we have to really do to be in this space of love is to just remove any and all barriers that we've built against it. And so that is what I was thinking. Okay, let's, oh my God, can you see the sun right now? Sorry guys, I wish you guys could, oh man, it's hard to see it on Zoom. Let me see, but it's bright pink. I've never seen it like that. It actually looks like the moon, but it's the sun. Oh man, I wish you guys could see it. So it's hard to see through Zoom. All right. So so let's just do a clearing on that, and then you'll see what happens with the horses as we do this too, because what I find to be the case with the horses is, you know, we come to them with all our humanness and all our stuff, right? And they're just like, oh, that needs to go and this needs to go, and they see these energy pockets around us of stuff that needs support. And like when I got here, the lead mare came up to me and just put her whole head right on my second chakra, and I'm like, didn't move it. And I was like, oh, I guess I really need this right now. I had no idea. So she must be seeing something that I'm not, right? So what is that block or barrier that I have there that I'm not even aware of myself? So the clearing, I will usually yawn or cough with the clearing, but let's just clear any and all blocks that we have against love, whether we're aware of them or not. I can feel them moving already because of the yawn. Just saying it sometimes is enough now. So, all right. So, all you have to do is receive, but any and all blocks or barriers that we've built to love, against love, that's kept us from receiving or giving more love in the world, we'd like to uncreate, destroy them. I'm gonna do it again. Any and all blocks or barriers that we have to being universal love or receiving universal love, we'd like to uncreate and destroy them. The horses are saying any and all ways that we block being more like horses, we'd like to uncreate and destroy that. So Sweetness is saying that the way that we could go, like, we don't always know when we're blocking things, although sometimes things don't show up, and then we do know that we're maybe blocking things or not allowing things right in. But what Sweetness is saying right now is that there's like a trail of breadcrumbs sometimes, or a trail of like, he's finding little pieces of grass to nibble on right here. I'll show you. As he also clears still. So he's like, find the sweetness, find the little patches of sweetness wherever they exist, find those little patches. It's little minute choices, right? It's like taking a second to smile a little bit longer. Well, I guess we have masks on, but to be willing to step into like just an extra, like, how are you doing today to someone, or an extra level of like slowing it down. That's been my theme of the week, is slowing it down, to be more present and stay really clear about how I want to show up, right? How I want to show up as a loving human being. So finding these little patches, these little things, there's tons of little, it doesn't have to look like this big getting married and 500 people are there and it's like this huge display of love. It can be these little tiny pieces all along. These little thank yous, these little I hear yous, these little I'm there for you, these little you've got it. It felt like it was often words of love was coming up a lot tonight, just hearing the birds. And Sweetness constantly wanting me to touch his ears tonight is also a piece of that. Like, how can we say these things to ourselves? How is an act of love saying things? The bugs are a little worse tonight than normal. I think partly because we have a change in weather with these fires. So there's a little bit of that too with the ears. But how do we let go of stuff that bugs us faster? Right? How do we move through the irritations of life, which will happen, which do happen, to, okay, well, what's the loving choice here? What's the love that's available? You know, Course in Miracles, please help me see this through the eyes of love. Please help me shift. Please let me see this person who's wronged me through the eyes of love. So, you know, universal love is such that it is always there. It's always truth. It's always the energy of everything. And I'll watch the horses go so fast from being in fear to being totally in peace, to being irritated, to being totally okay, to being, you know, in disagreement about something or an annoyance of something, and back to total acceptance so fast. So it's not so much that we never get upset anymore, it's that we will, but it's that the loving choice is to shift back to who we truly are, to shift back to that universal truth, the universal love that is current of all things, right? So it's like, if electricity is running in the house, all you have to do is turn the light bulb on. It's not like complaining about the darkness that's going to shift it. It's just finding where the light switch is and turning it on and having a different reality, right? That it's always there. It's always the current. It's always the truth of who we are. And it's just tapping back into it. And I love the flies as an analogy for, like, they could be in our face a lot and in these guys' ears, and they were biting like crazy before. And to just be like, okay, this is what's happening in this moment, is chaos or irritation or frustration. And how can I love what, like, I love Matt Kahn's, how do I love what arises? How can I love this too? How can I love my fear? How can I love the chaos in the world? Not necessarily want it, right? It's not like we want it, but to be in love with that being the current reality. Because then also in the next moment, there's going to be a sunset like this one, or the geese flying overhead, or a donkey butt that's trying to push over the table, you know, or a horse coming over and giving a nuzzle to one of us, right? Like, that's also going to be there. And so it's just a matter of, like, you know, what perspective do we sit with here? And I could sit with the computer turned this way and you'd see the house and no horses. And you'd think there was no horses, but they're all here right behind me. And so it's very much that same thing of being in the prison of thinking like there's all these bars and limitations in front of us and that's all we see. But when you turn around, you realize there's absolutely no bars there, and that the truth of love can get us out of anything or into anything that we need and want and desire, right? That our commitment to that, and that the commitment to service is this high path, this high path of love. And you know, I find that that's where the animals live from. They live from this path, high path of service, like the dolphins I mentioned earlier. You know, just seeing them brings people so much joy. And it's the same like the horses. And forgot who was telling me this the last week or so, but they were like, just seeing a horse makes you so excited. Like you're like, that's a horse. I need to see that horse. And we'll pull over and stop if we're not around horses very much and want to see them. And, you know, we're captivated by them. And so, you know, my whole thought was, what if we got that way with humans, right? What if we're like, there's a human, there's my friend, right? And instead of, it's like, how excited can you be to see your friend again the next time you see them, right? And I think sometimes part of what we're going through in self-cocooning, aka quarantine, is this thing of like, we don't get to see as many people maybe as we were before. And can we really get so excited the next time we see them or appreciate them? And also just like, what is it about the animals that we get so excited about? The fact that they are so usually beautiful and here of service to us. And we love that. So what if we could start to see ourselves first and foremost that way, project that out, and then have others really start to see that about us as well, right? This whole matrix mirror theory of like, it's all just connected. So if we start to feel into our own beauty and we feel into our own, I'm excited just to be me today, can that then be a transference of energy, right? Can we be in the joy of the dolphins and in this power love center that the horses live in, right? And like Sweetness, you know, yes, he wants scratches, but he's just over here hanging out, being of service. Like that's what, you know, and the other horses are with us, although they're a little more interested in being together and being in shed. But there's really, you know, there's this element right now of like Sweetness is like, I want to be here with you guys, right? I want to be on camera. I know it's important. And you know, it's like, and there's a mutuality here. I think we talked about symbiosis. I can never say that word. Symbioticness, symbiosum, where you give and you receive at the same time. So anyways, we're coming up quick here to the hour, and time has flown because we got started a little bit later. But the journal prompt that is kind of coming in is like, what is your definition of universal love? You want to write that down. And what's one way of being, right? So for me, it would probably be patience. It's one way of being that would allow you to be more universal love. And what's one doing? So that would be acts of kindness. Like, could I give every person I met a compliment just for a week? Starting with myself every day, right? That words of affirmation, that's one of the 5 love languages. And there's more than 5 ways to, it's more than 5 love languages in my mind, but it's like the top 5. One of them is words of affirmation. So knowing that, you know, being able to give a compliment and mean it, right? So being able to step into that space. So what's one being thing, one doing thing that would allow you to experience more universal love? And really starting with ourselves, right? Starting with ourselves. Because that's the truth of where love really comes from, is knowing that we are love and being it for ourselves. Because sometimes we often are the hardest people to love, or we feel that we're the hardest people to love as ourselves sometimes. And then once we've got that, so much easier to love others. And that was what I saw painted today on my hike, this little chalk thing that said, love each other. And that's really what the horses are doing. They're loving each other, even when they draw boundaries or push each other around, still love. And it's really just their communication system. And then same with us, right? Like they are always loving us. And I think that's why people get so excited. So I just feel like if we could be more like them. So any and all ways in which we can't be more like horses, we have judgment about being like horses or blocks or barriers to being more like horses. They like to uncreate, destroy. And then we're going to bring in the energy of the truth of who we are, which is universal love, full acceptance, full peace, full joy, full compassion, full presence. And so it is. Sweetness really cleared quite a bit from the energy around the computer before, so you may feel some shifts. Do you have anything else you want to say? So he's pretty much saying that it's okay to be with whatever arises. That same similar message that Matt has, love what comes up, love what arises. But what he's saying is around the emotions. Because he's shedding some tears, which is quite beautiful. How are you doing, buddy? Okay, yeah. Good boy. So being okay even if you feel sad, right? And then my best experiences of self-love have really truly been when I've been most upset in my life. And it wasn't always this way, but over the last several years, when I've been most upset in my life, being able to sit with myself and be incredibly loving. What do you need? What would help you feel better? It's totally okay that you're angry. It's totally okay that you're sad. It's not always going to be like this. I've got your back. I love you so much. All of that, right? Like really positive, deep self-talk and acceptance of whatever the emotions are. So that's kind of what Sweetness is saying, is like, can we accept all these different pieces, all these different emotions? And I totally want to put bug spray on all these horses right now. Give them some, that's my doing for love for tonight. So Kim, anything you want to share? I feel like you're right here. So does it feel different being here than being on Zoom?
It's really nice just to be with, to be in this beautiful land, to be with the horses and just it's interesting because I'm listening to you and I'm just kind of also trying to really be present. And because here I am in this beautiful place with the horses right here. And it's there's a lot to that love thing, and definitely different messages and inquiries kind of coming through about, like, for me it's like finding my place. So it's like knowing our own energy while being in relation with the others. So finding the place in the herd kind of thing.
I love that.
And kind of like, what's the balance, right, of being in my own, energy and truth, and, being present and engaging with the community. So, so that's kind of the piece that came up around that universal love and just being here and being around everybody. And especially at the beginning where everything was a little like chaotic kind of seeming, and that, so really now I feel so much more peace kind of with everybody, and they're all just hanging out over there. But
I know. I love it. Yeah, it's funny. What you mentioned is really neat, which is that everyone will bring up their own part, I think, here around what is universal love. What is universal love to you? So, so I don't know if anyone else wants to share. I'm going to stop the recording and then we'll see if anyone else feels like sharing. Thanks for joining.